Now let's expound on the Surangama Sutra. The Buddha said to Ananda, "You and I share the same breath. Our bond is as close as that of family." So the Buddha said to Ananda, "What is sharing the same breath?" We often say this came from the same source or ancestor. So Sakyamuni Buddha was the prince of King Suddhodana. There were several kings there, and there were eight princes who followed Sakyamuni Buddha to be ordained to become monks. This is playful of Chinese, because in Chinese Suddhodana sounds like a white rice king or green rice king. So the father of Sakyamuni Buddha is Suddhodana. And Ananda and Ananda's father was also a king. The white king or green king. Oh. So they had the same ancestor. Because Ananda was a paternal cousin of Sakyamuni Buddha. He was the younger brother of King Suddhodana, the king of Amdrodana. But in Chinese, it can be played with homophone. So of the eight princes who became monks, Ananda was one of them. So they were the same generation from the same ancestor. So they had some bond, familial bond, like brothers. So when you first resolved to follow the path, what extraordinary aspect of my teachings did you see that made you suddenly renounce the deep attachment and worldly affections? So back then, you wanted to become a monk and resolved to follow the Buddha's path. What did you see that you wanted to become a monk? What's so special that you felt that suddenly you wanted to become ordained as a prince? It's not easy. So what have you seen? Anything extraordinary that you suddenly felt wanted to renunciate and let go all worldly things, wealth, sensual pleasures or beauties, and name, like as a prince. You let go of all those. So all the attachments and affections of the world and became ordained to cultivate spiritually. The same with Sakyamuni Buddha. When he was prince, he had the queen and many concubines and consorts, and he cut off all those affections and became a monk. And Ananda replied to the Buddha, I saw the tathagatas 32 hallmarks. He saw how Sakyamuni Buddha looked. That's the 32 marks of perfection of the Buddha and the 80 secondary marks of perfect conducts. Are the 32 hallmarks, many of them, as I said, and they include, what do they include? What Huijin Sansis have, flat souls. The souls of the Buddha are also flat. It's one of the 32 hallmarks. So Huijin has spiritual root. Not just sits round, her feet are flat. It can be flat on the ground, but most of our feet have some arch. But her feet are flat. So most important marks of the 32 hallmarks are flat soles, and then there is the marks of Dharma wheel on the soles and flat soles. That's one of the 32 hallmarks. And when you stand up and hanging your arms, the two hands are below the knees. Anyone can do that? Can be like that? Anyone have such a mark? That's one of the 32 hallmarks. Sakyamuni Buddha's arms are very long, hanging below the knees. And one more. There is a head bump on top of the head. A flesh, protruding flesh, Ushnisha. All of a sudden, there's a bump, like a protruding flesh. But people nowadays, we would say they have tumor. Was it Master Lian Man's nephew who had a tumor on his head, and he attended my ceremony in the stadium in Hong Kong, and the tumor disappeared on that day. But that's a tumor growth, not Ushnisha. That's one of the 32 hallmarks. All Buddhas have that protruding flesh. That's called Ushnisha, head bump. Sakyamuni Buddha too had that. And the next one is the long and broad tongue. What is that? When he extended his tongue, it would cover the whole face. That's the mark of the tongue. Is there anyone that has that nowadays, that can cover the whole face? So one of the 32 hallmarks is that broad and long tongue. And another one is the earlobes touching the shoulder. It's not tiny earlobes. But if you pull them often, then they would reach your shoulders. So the earlobes are below the lips. That's called the earlobes reaching the shoulders. Anyone? Raise your hand if you have that. That's also one of the 32 hallmarks. The earlobes of the Buddhas are all very long, very huge. That's the 32 hallmarks. So Ananda said, I saw the 32 hallmarks of perfection of Sakyamuni Buddha. They are supreme, very rare, very exquisite, and exceeding everybody else. So marvelous, very extraordinary, and nobody else, and unique, nobody else has it. And your form is radiant and translucent like lapis lazuli. So the skin, the body are very luminous or radiant like lapis lazuli. Nowadays, people especially make lapis lazuli in many different colors. His body is golden lapis lazuli. Sakyamuni Buddha's body is purple golden, very bright and brilliant. So we call it a golden body. Golden body, radiant and bright. That's also part of 32 hallmarks. Like lapis lazuli, translucent and luminous. So Ananda often reflected that such hallmarks cannot arise from desire and attachment, or general mundane beings who are born from desire and love. So we are all born from the love and desire of our parents. So why is it that way? Why is this so? Because the energy of desire is coarse and impure. So the qi, or the aura, the subtle energy of mundane beings are really not that great. Sometimes they have bad breath, very turbid, very foul, and their tears are like urine, and their mucus would flow, and then the saliva is you would drool when sleeping. That's yucky. and then dandruff on their heads or hair, all dirty stuff, a dirty smell, and things excreted from the skin pores or from armpits. When I was young and I was short, and then in the public bus, and they would hold on the bus, would hold, and that's body odor, or someone coming in for spiritual contemplation, and they took off the shoes, they take off the shoes, and the stinky smell. The whole room was filled with it. Or if you don't launder your clothes also. When a human is still alive, it's not that bad, but once you die, that would be even worse and horrible. We had a forensic doctor called Yang Le-sung in Taiwan. He studied in Japan, a forensic doctor. I think he had to check how someone died. So he just dipped the water of the corpse and then licked it with his tongue, and he would know immediately how they died. That was really foul smelling. So Yang Le-sung always dip his finger or touch the finger in the water from the corpse and to find out what had happened. So he was very responsible and dutiful. So he would know that someone was poisoned and what kind of poison was used. And he would know by smelling the odor of the corpse, and that was very repulsive and very dirty. And finally, he got the marks of like corpses. It was quite scary. So humans, the physical bodies of general mundane beings are very dirty, coarse and impure, foul and repulsive, mingled with pus and blood. Surgeons would know. Inflame and pus and blood. It cannot give rise to such a supreme, pure, wondrous and radiant gathering of golden light. Because Sakyamuni Buddha's body is very pure, translucent, and it's radiant like the purple golden light. That's how Sakyamuni Buddha looked. Because he saw that, he longed to have his body to be like Sakyamuni Buddha, endowed with 32 hallmarks. So he resolved to renounce the worldly life and became a monk. So Ananda was ordained because he saw the 32 hallmarks of Sakyamuni Buddha, the golden purple light, translucent, radiant, luminous body, and with exquisite, magnificent looks. that's unique and cannot be found in the world. So by seeing that, he followed the footsteps of the Buddha and asked Sakyamuni Buddha to ordain him. Should I continue? And then the Buddha said, "Excellent Ananda, the Venerable Ananda, you all must understand that all sentient beings, since time without beginning, have been bound by the cycle of birth and death, all because they do not recognize the ever-abiding true mind and the inherently pure and luminous nature." Sakyamuni Buddha said, "Ananda, you said it very well. You all should know that all sentient beings, since time without beginning, have been bound by the cycle of birth and death, the rebirth cycle, cannot leave behind samsara. It's all because they do not recognize the ever-abiding true mind and the inherently pure and luminous nature. They do not know that they have this ever-abiding true mind. That's buddhanature. Humans do not know that inside their bodies they have buddhanature in it. And that is ever-abiding true mind, the eternally abiding buddhanature. Humans do not know that they have the eternal buddhanature. And this original buddhanature is pure and bright, immaculate, without any impurities at all. Radiant body. They rely on random thoughts, deluded thoughts. What we think are all not correct. They are all called random wandering thoughts. So all your thoughts are not the truth. Only the inherently pure and luminous nature is the truth, is real, and the rest are not real. That's why there is samsara. So why a human would be reincarnated to another place and continually cycling in this rebirth cycle and unable to be liberated from it? That's because you have not seen your own radiant nature or body, that you do not know you have Buddha nature, and you keep thinking about everything that's not real. Our desires is about money, wealth, sex, food, fame, and sleep. These are the 5 major desires, and they are not real. But every day you're just bound by them. That's why humans are always cycling in the rebirth cycle. After this life, another lifetime, endlessly. Now that you seek to study the unsurpassed Bodhi, today you want to know how to be liberated. There is nothing better than this. To be liberated, to truly awaken your intrinsic nature, to understand about the luminous body, your original Buddha nature. So you must answer my questions with a straightforward and sincere mind. You should answer directly. I will ask you questions, and you must answer directly. So, whatever questions I ask, you must answer it with a straightforward and honest mind. All Buddhas of the 10 directions, or tathagatas, all the Buddhas, Dharma, and Sangha of the 10 directions. So tathagatas are the same as Buddhas. Follow the single path. They all practice the same Dharma, the same understanding their own true mind, understand their own Buddha nature. To be liberated from birth and death, to transcend birth and death, to be liberated from samsara. And it is through direct mind. They have attainment through the straight mind, or the pure and luminous nature. Because the Buddha nature and the mind are real. Because their minds and words are straight, from the very beginning to the final stage, there is never any deviation or distortion in the path. So their path is completely straight. There is no detour or roundabouts or curving path. They all walk the same path, one Dharma, and attaining Buddhahood directly. They do not get off track or go to other places and not twisting and turning without any deviation or distortion in their path. So, this passage from here to here, straight mind. We can say that straight mind is the true mind. So they clearly recognize this true mind that can transcend birth and death. And the path is straight, no twisting and turnings. That's spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. And tomorrow we will continue. Let me tell you here, they would talk about the mind. Dharma, Buddha Dharma first encountered Shenguang. Shenguang was the first one to seek Bodhidharma, right? And Shenguang told Bodhidharma, I have no peace in my mind or heart mind. And Bodhidharma asked him, so I would give you peace if you give me your heart and mind. And Shenguang said, I cannot find my mind or my heart. And then Bodhidharma told him that your mind is now at peace. So here, later on, it would talk about this. It's a little bit like the patriarch, 6 Patriarchs Platform Sutra. When Shenguang met Bodhidharma, he said, my heart mind is not at peace. Give me your heart mind, I will give you peace. I would pacify it, and he could not find it. Then Bodhidharma told him, then it's already at peace because you don't have any hot mind. So what is it that needs to be pacified? That's quite philosophical.